You guys know how important USA spending is to me. I use USA spending to learn a lot about what's going on in government contracting. It is definitely my go-to, and I teach you guys the same thing. Well, it's changed, but I don't want you to panic because what I did was I took the time to walk through, find out what the changes were, and I want to show you how you can continue to win contracts utilizing USA spending. You just need to understand what the steps are. Hi, I'm Michelle Brown. Today I want to talk to you about USAspending.gov and what's changed. In this video, I will give you the basic foundation for using USA spending. So this is more like part one. But before we get started, I need to make sure that you understand the 6 reasons why you must continue to use USA spending to win contracts. I know that some of you bid a lot and you're not winning. You need to understand the market. Even if you do lots of services, it doesn't take that long, but you need to understand how to do it. So you may not be winning because of just pricing or because your proposal is not great. It could be simply because you don't understand the market. You don't understand how the services are structured. You don't understand your advantage. So let's go through the 6 reasons why and when you should utilize USA spending to better understand your industry. So, number one, you need to ensure that your price offering is in line with other offers. You need to know what the pricing looks like. Now, 99% of the time you can find that information. Every blue moon, you cannot find that information, but most of the time you can. And you can look at old contracts, old awards. I'll get to that. But your price offering must be in line so that you can make a better offer, not for less necessarily, but sometimes other contractors bidding against you, most are greedy. And that's an advantage for you. Maybe your overhead costs are not as much as it would be if you had a team of 10. Maybe you can do the job with yourself and maybe a project manager or one other person. So it really depends on the circumstances, but you won't know this until you run USA spending specific to your industry. Number two, learn the correct FSC codes. FSCs are for the DLA side, Federal Supply Class Codes. DLA has specific codes, but they look similar to the PSC codes. PSC codes are product service codes on the SAM side. So even though FSC codes do not have letters attached to them, sometimes they're the exact same codes as the PSC codes. So they're interchangeable. But how do you know what codes you should use in your industry? Well, this is what USA spending is for, because you need to know where the buying activity is and what codes they're using. If they're using 1, 2, 3, 4, you should be using 1, 2, 3, 4, not 5, 6, 7, 8. Very important. And if you're new and you don't know what your codes are, that's when you come to USA Spending to figure out where is all of the buying activity, which agencies are buying in the industry for which I would like to win contracts. Number three, determine the federal buying behavior for specific agencies in your industry. You should know who your agencies are that put out more of the activity that you would like to see. If you don't know that, you need to take a weekend and sit down with USA Spending and learn how to get that information. If I'm in aviation, I need to know where all the aviation contracts are. If I'm in janitorial, I need to know where all of the janitorial contracts are. Number four, to evaluate other companies in your industry prior to you pursuing those contracts. It makes no sense, just like in any other business, for you to just jump right in and say, I'm not making enough money or making any money in this industry. That may be because you do not understand how things work in that industry. You need to find out prior to making offers what is going on in that industry overall. What does your competition look like? My favorite word. I realize that I don't really think about competition, but I need to know who's in the industry bidding against me. Are they large companies, small companies? All of that can be utilized to your advantage. Number five, research previous awards. That is huge. That is so important, and it could elevate your offer. And sometimes, again, it's not about you taking less profit, it is about you structuring things the right way. Maybe you could restructure your offer a little bit different, and you can tell a lot about how the previous offer was awarded. Number six, determine gold mine areas. That's my term for low competition areas, areas that nobody's paying attention to. You can find all of this out from USA Spending, not just low competition areas, but also low hanging fruit. Let's get into how to use USA Spending. Now let's review how the new USA Spending works. What you need to do is first go to USAspending.gov and you will see this page. I will keep it very simple for you. There are a lot of things you can do with USA Spending. A lot of it has not changed, but the initial review of how to find the information has changed. So the first thing you want to do is click on Search Award. When we get in Search Award, yes, of course, it depends on what you want to do, but I want to show you how to review USA Spending if you were new or if you just wanted to find out how it works and demonstrate for yourself that you know how to use it, because that's important. If you don't know how to use it, you cannot find the information that you need. So the first thing that I want to do is I decided I want to see what all of the contracts look like in 2024. So the first thing I will do is come over here. Under keywords, I will come to time period, which is fiscal years. I'll click on fiscal years. You can also do custom dates. You would just click on custom dates, start date to end date. Maybe you just want to look at a month for a specific code, but I will click on fiscal date. I want to look at the previous year, 2024. I click on 2024, and I will keep it very simple to get this information and break it down. I hit submit. Remember, this is part one. I will show you in part two how to find specifics for your industry or for a specific code. PSC codes are much more efficient as it relates to government contracting. Not to say that you can't run reports on NACE codes, but PSC codes are going to get you where you need to be because you need to find out where the contracts are. PSC codes are owned by the federal government, and so are FSC codes, federal government. NACE codes are commercial codes, and they're more high level. So let's take a look at what we see here. So when I clicked on fiscal year 2024, I see that 5.7 million contracts were awarded. This is not set asides. This is everyone, small business, woman owned, minority owned, veteran owned. Everything is here. Hub zone, everything is right here. All of this tells me that there were 5.7 million contracts awarded. So what do I want to know about all these contracts? Well, I can get a quick overview by coming down here where it says results by category. This is new. Okay, so results by category is going to tell me which agencies receive the most acquisition dollars, the most dollars to award government contracts because they are so busy. The government does not handle business on their own. That's not what they do. They manage the taxpayer dollars to run the country. And this gives you a very clear overview of what the federal government does. Okay, so here is Health and Human Services, one of my favorite agencies, $3.8 trillion they received last year. Well, Health and Human Services does a lot. They take care of the entire country. There's so many things that they do. They have the CDC, they have the FDA, they have NIH. So they have a lot to do under Health and Human Services, and they did it. Now, they received the 3.8 trillion, but that went to Companies like us, large, small, veteran-owned, woman-owned, it doesn't matter. They hired us with these contracts to do this work. Then we have the Department of Defense. They are number 2 in line. That's where DLA is. You know, we win a lot in DLA. That's under DOD. That's also including the Army, the Navy, all of the agencies, what I call baby agencies under DOD. Baby agencies are the sub-awarding agencies. They're usually the ones that are awarding the contracts. These are the big daddy agencies. So Health and Human Services, as an example, is a big daddy agency, but Health and Human Services has a lot of baby agencies underneath it, which are considered sub-award agencies. They are the ones that we usually work with. That would be the CDC, the FDA, the NIH. Those are all sub-award agencies. DOD, DLA is a sub-award agency under DOD. The Army, the Navy, all of those are sub-award agencies. And most of the time, those are the agencies we are dealing with. So you could have a DOD contract, that's the funding big daddy agency, but you could have lots of activity under DOD. Now, number 3 is Social Security Administration. We've been hearing a lot about these agencies, especially under the changes with the new administration. And if you look at a lot of these dollars, you would break them down to understand exactly what they are spending these dollars on. Department of Energy, but they are number 4. And then we have the Department of Transportation. If you are DBE, this is where your contracts come from on your state level. Without Department of Transportation mandating the DBE program and making sure that small businesses are getting these dollars, there would be no DBE or MBE or WBE program. Do you see we have only 10 that we're reviewing? There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of federal government agencies that run this country. So you have no excuse when it comes to, I can't find any contracts. You need to get in here and look around if you're new to government contracting. Even before you go to SAM, you cannot have an effective SAM search without your codes. Let's go back to results category and go to PSC service codes. Let's look to see what the categories are. The highest awarding PSC code, meaning 1510 has the most contracting dollars. Well, you would take 1510 and you would do a search. 1510 is the highest awarded PSC code in the federal government in 2024. If you are in aviation or aircraft or anything to do with airplanes or airplane parts, a Boeing, Lockheed type, any of those areas would fit under 1510. If you wanted to know specifics about that, you would run a report right here in USA Spending under 1510.